Ateneans, to ensure a
Recording in
smooth-running
progress.
webinar for both the speaker and the audience, please be reminded of these following house rules. Number 1. For the entire duration of the webinar, kindly turn off or mute your microphones to avoid interrupting the presenter. Number 2. Be on time. Once you have joined the Zoom session, please refrain from leaving and attend the entire duration of the webinar. Number 3. To raise your queries, you may type them in the chat box of the platform you are using. Kindly refrain from posting comments unrelated to the topic. Number 4. The moderator will be acknowledging your questions and directing them to our speakers during the open forum. Number 5. When participating in the open forum, be mindful of your background and your background noise. Number 6. We will be releasing the link of the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. Number 7. Please note that we will only be issuing e-certificates to those who have registered, confirmed attendance, and completely filled out the evaluation form. Number 8. Use your real name and follow the prescribed format for proper documentation, if any. Number 9. Unless you are permitted by the organizer, please do not record any part of the webinar. And number 10. Please give us a week to prepare your e-certificate to be sent via email. Thank you and enjoy the webinar. Hello Ateneans! To ensure a smooth-running webinar for both the speaker and the audience, please be reminded of these following house rules. Number 1. For the entire duration of the webinar, kindly turn off or mute your microphones to avoid interrupting the presenter. Number 2. Be on time. Once you have joined the Zoom session, please refrain from leaving and attend the entire duration of the webinar. Number 3. To raise your queries, you may type them in the chat box of the platform you are using. Kindly refrain from posting comments unrelated to the topic. Number 4. The moderator will be acknowledging your questions and directing them to our speakers during the open forum. Number 5. When participating in the open forum, be mindful of your background and your background noise. Number 6. We will be releasing the link of the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. Number 7. Please note that we will only be issuing e-certificates to those who have registered, confirmed attendance, and completely filled out the evaluation form. Number 8. Use your real name and follow the prescribed format for proper documentation, if any. Number 9. Unless you are permitted by the organizer, please do not record any part of the webinar. And number 10, please give us a week to prepare your e-certificate to be sent via email. Thank you and enjoy the webinar.
there, Athenians! Welcome to your chosen alternative class program or ACP webinar or workshop this semester.
Let me refresh your memory on what ACP is all about. The ACP is conducted every semester to provide the college students with formative opportunities outside of their regular classroom routine or daily schedule in support of the university's uniquely Jesuit educational goals. Carefully selected resource speakers from different fields of specialization are invited to share their knowledge, skills, and inspire students to nurture their personal development and partake in social advocacies or causes. For the third online ACP during this pandemic, we continue with the theme Cannonballs, Firing Up Dreams, Courage, Action. This theme is inspired by the conversion of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus. Just as Saint Ignatius was hit by a cannonball which altered his life and drew him to a greater calling, this ACP hopes to light up the university's call for students to have dreams, discern on how these dreams contribute to one's personal improvement and the common good, muster courage, and find ways to accomplish these dreams. To do this, ACP offerings are carefully chosen to be relevant to the current times, formative, and mission-driven. The webinars and e-workshops hope to start a conversation on one's life in the pandemic, the changes and transitions, and important events like the national and local elections. The online sessions endeavor to facilitate personal and even community reflection and discernment. Who knows? These virtual activities could fire up meaningful cannonball moments in you, dear students. At the end of the webinars and e-workshops, the ACP hopes for the following objectives. First, acquire knowledge and/or skills that are relevant to one's interest, talent, skill, passion, and advocacy. Second, relate or share the learning and insight gained from the topic or activity in conversation or dialogue and personal reflection. Third, examine the importance of one's interest, talent, skill, passion, and advocacy to the development of the society. And fourth, seek ways or opportunities by which the gained knowledge and skills can be further advanced and used for the benefit of the immediate organization, community, or larger society.
Dream, have courage, take action. And don't forget to learn and have fun while we experience ACP Athenians.
Hello Ateneans! To ensure a smooth running webinar for both the speaker and the audience, please be reminded of these following house rules. Number 1. For the entire duration of the webinar, kindly turn off or mute your microphones to avoid interrupting the presenter. Number 2. Be on time. Once you have joined the Zoom session, please refrain from leaving and attend the entire duration of the webinar. Number 3. To raise your queries, you may type them in the chat box of the platform you are using. Kindly refrain from posting comments unrelated to the topic. Number 4. The moderator will be acknowledging your questions and directing them to our speakers during the open forum. Number 5. When participating in the open forum, be mindful of your background and your background noise. Number 6. We will be releasing the link of the evaluation form at the end of the webinar. Number 7.
Hello there, Athenians! Welcome to your chosen alternative class program or ACP webinar or workshop this semester.
Let me refresh your memory on what ACP is all about. The ACP is conducted every semester to provide the college students with formative opportunities outside of their regular classroom routine or daily schedule in support of the university's uniquely Jesuit educational goals. Carefully selected resource speakers from different fields of specialization are invited to share their knowledge, skills, and inspire students to nurture their personal development and partake in social advocacies or causes. For the third online ACP during this pandemic, we continue with the theme Cannonballs, Firing Up Dreams, Courage, Action. This theme is inspired by the conversion of Saint Ignatius of Loyola, founder of the Society of Jesus. Just as Saint Ignatius was hit by a cannonball which altered his life and drew him to a greater calling, this ACP hopes to light up the university's call for students to have dreams, discern on how these dreams contribute to one's personal improvement and the common good, muster courage, and find ways to accomplish these dreams. To do this, ACP offerings are carefully chosen to be relevant to the current times, formative, and mission-driven. The webinars and e-workshops hope to start a conversation on one's life in the pandemic, the changes and transitions, and the important events like the national and local elections. The online sessions endeavor to facilitate personal and even community reflection and discernment. Who knows? These virtual activities could fire up meaningful cannonball moments in you, dear students. At the end of the webinars and e-workshops, the ACP hopes for the following objectives. First, acquire knowledge and/or skills that are relevant to one's interest, talent, skill, passion, and advocacy. Second, relate or share the learning and insight gained from the topic or activity in conversation or dialogue and personal reflection. Third, examine the importance of one's interest, talent, skill, passion, and advocacy to the development of the society. And fourth, seek ways or opportunities by which the gained knowledge and skills can be further advanced and used for the benefit of the immediate organization, community, or larger society.
Dream, have courage, take action. And don't forget to learn and have fun while we experience ACP Athenians.
Game on! Sit back and enjoy as this webinar will discuss the phenomenon of ExerGaming, a combination of physical activities and gaming using video games and technology as a means of maintaining and improving one's health. This afternoon, Athenians, I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Jack Ivan D. Audal. You can call me Jack, and I would like to welcome everyone to today's webinar. Sino dito ang mga gamer? Sino ang kilala ang mga popular YouTube gaming content creators like PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, or Twitch streamers like This Guy's Toast, Pokemon, XQZ, to name a few. If you have your favorite gaming streamer or YouTuber, name drop them down below on Zoom chat. And speaking of things we want you to drop down, we would also like you to kindly answer our questions in our Mentimeter that we provided for you. Question. You can scan the QR code or go to www.menti.com and type in the code 308034. Right? Go to www.menti.com and type in the code 308034 or scan the QR code flashed screen. Right? And of course, down on Zoom chat, that there is the code 308034. And of course, the questions are, what games have you played? Or what is your favorite activity or exercise? For the first question, it can either be games you used to play, games you want to play, or games you are currently playing. And for the second question, what is your favorite physical activity or exercise? It could range from either sports, exercises, and of course, it's not perfection, but of course, keep it PG. We know that some of you have creative mind. We don't want our the Adnu Osta YouTube channel to get demonetized because, as you know, we are live on the Adnu Osta YouTube channel. And as you can see, the top answers is Valorant dominating with the center. The second strongest answer is basketball, ranging from Dota 2. Mukhang ang dami nating gamers. Ang Genshin, yan, somewhere around there. Apex Legends, Mobile Legends. Okay, Genshin Impact returning, taking huge amount of space. There's Dota, Dead by Daylight, NBA 2K22, NBA 2K21. So there's a lot of variety. Sa ating mga participants are 128 gamers. Okay? Yan. So thank you so much to our participants that have partaken. At least we have now a great idea or a good idea as to who are with us today. And of course, we are elated to see you this afternoon. For now, press your hypothetical start buttons as you are in this webinar, ExerGaming from gaming to training. First things first, a quick tutorial. It's like in all other games. We kindly remind you to observe proper etiquette. First, kindly mute your microphones to prevent distracting the speaker and your fellow participants. However, you may want to open your cameras only if possible. But if your internet does not permit it, then it's okay. Second, if you have any questions or comments, please send your messages through Zoom chat or the Google link. Send in the group chat. We are also, of course, as we said earlier, we are also live on Adnu Osta's YouTube channel. And of course, we encourage our YouTube viewers to participate in the comment section. And we will address your inquiries on the open forum later. We will be issuing e-certificates, but first you need to stay throughout the event. And of course, accomplish the evaluation form that will be given at the end of this workshop. I hope that these guidelines are clear. Before we begin with the program proper, excited na ba tayong maglaro? I joke. Matuto at maging healthy. Well, I am super excited. I've been looking forward to this ACP because as a student, I want to be more active, not just online, but also physically. At pag physically active and healthy ang lahat, angat buhay ang lahat. Yes. Now to formally open this webinar, may I call everyone to be in the proper disposition for the invocation.
Prayer for our nation during the COVID-19 pandemic and the upcoming national and local elections. Almighty God, Lord of the universe, and Creator of everything, we come to you seeking your mercy, divine protection, and your will for us to confront the COVID-19 pandemic and the forthcoming national and local elections, to choose the national and local leaders of our country. Merciful and compassionate Father, we confess our sins and we humbly come to you to find forgiveness and life. We come to you in our need, begging to halt the current COVID-19 pandemic, healing for those afflicted, strength, courage, competence, compassion, and protection to health workers who care for them, eternal salvation and peace for those who died. And throughout this tribulation, may our families and communities be consoled and comforted by your merciful love. We pray that you guide the people tasked to find cures for this disease and to stem its transmission. Bless our efforts to use the medicine developed to end the pandemic in our country. We also pray that the forthcoming national and local elections may truly reflect your will, O Lord, who guides the destinies of nations. We beg you to deliver us, Lord, from coercion, intimidation, violence, and terrorism, from dishonesty, lies, and all distortion of truth, from bribery, graft, and all conspiracy for fraud, from gullibility to the deceptive and blindness of perspective, from threats, intimidation, and perverse language. Lord our God, we beg you to give us the grace of a discerning heart in choosing the next set of national and local leaders in the forthcoming elections. Let our conscience be our ultimate norm. Let the common good be our highest goal. Let human dignity be respected all the time. Let the poor and the weak always have the priority. Let the care for creation be our utmost priority. Let solidarity guide the path of peace and development. Let genuine fear of God and love of neighbors guide those who seek public office. Shepherd of souls and Savior of the nations, politics is your gift to us, a call to serve others and grow in holiness. Guide our politics as you guide our lives. May our political engagement for voters and candidates bring glory to your loving name and help us grow in holiness. Grant all these through the intercession of Ina, our Blessed Mother, and our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father Celerino Reyes, Father Celerino Ignacio Reyes of the Society of Jesus for the editing of the prayer, and Adno Osta for giving me the opportunity to record the voiceover. Okay, and now let me have the honor to introduce to you our speaker this afternoon. Our speaker finished his Bachelor of Science degree in Physical Therapy from the University of Santo Tomas, or UST, Master's degree in Physical Therapy from the same institution, cum laude, and Doctor of Philosophy in Physiotherapy from the University of Otago, New Zealand. He served several administrative functions, including College Secretary in the College of Rehabilitation Science in UST from 2012 to 2015, and Physical Therapy Department Chair from 2019 up to the present. He has been an academic staff of the BSPT program since 2007 and is on the roster of faculty members for the Masters of Science in PT program. As a researcher, he is part of the Center for Health Research and Movement Science and the associate editor of the Philippine Journal of Allied Health Sciences. He published and presented his research papers in the field of osteoarthritis, exergaming, and geriatrics. Recently, he is the recipient of the 2020 Outstanding Professional of the Year in the field of physical therapy given by the Professional Regulation Commission. Everyone, please give a warm welcome and round of virtual applause for Dr. Donald G. Manlapaz. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Jed, for that introduction. And good afternoon, everyone, most especially to our students. Yeah, so I think I can begin now my presentation. So, good afternoon. And then, as much as possible, later, if you have some questions, take down some of your questions and some of your notes. If you have some interest as well with regards to our topic. So I'll be sharing my PowerPoint presentation, and let's make this afternoon more productive, more interactive, and came from your presentations a while ago. Cannonball, I like the theme right now. I think this is your second, no? If I'm not mistaken. And then learn and have fun. Okay, so we will learn, and of course, to ignite those ideas that you have. And later on, it's a good point for collaborations. If you will have your thesis or anything that we can connect with this topic, that will be helpful, and I'll be happy to assist and collaborate with you. Okay, so so I don't know what are the answers a while ago. What specific game? Okay, I hope that I won't miss out some of your expectations with this webinar, because this webinar will tackle, yes, we'll be talking about gaming, but we will also incorporate exercise. So we coined this one ExerGaming, from gaming, and this time going now to training. So as introduced, you can call me Donald or Dr. Donald. I'm from the University of Santo Tomas, okay? And I'm a physical therapist by profession, and I'm in the academy for almost 13 to 14 years. Yeah. So thank you for the comments in the chat box, okay? So let's have an overview of what you are expecting in this webinar. So we'll be talking about some medical conditions, because during the time when I'm very, one of my favorite games actually before in the 90s, it's a bit old, 90s, we have our Dance Revolution, right? You know that Dance Revolution. And then there's other gaming, okay, equipment, off the shelf or commercial gaming that was introduced during that time. And right now, we're going to I saw some of the games, the Valorant, right? So there's a shift from these consoles going to a mobile application, or before mobile application, there's also computer application games going to mobile applications. No, for me, the mobile game is a thumb exercise. So you use your thumb or your fingers or index finger to do the exercises. So you're exercising just with your thumb. But I was thinking during the time, this kind of technology was actually condemned, okay, to be the culprit of being in a couch potato, just sitting in the afternoon playing. And specific individuals, particularly teenagers, becomes obese or getting bigger, right? So I want to connect these medical conditions with you, and at the same time as part of prevention and of course education. I also want to connect this education and prevention to exergaming. So exergaming is one of my expertise, wherein if this certain games that a person is playing, can that person achieve really exercise? Okay, so for example, you're playing Dance Revolution. Am I hitting the enough intensity that is equivalent to exercise? So those are my questions. Okay, and then one of the most common things that we need to consider is that there are available technology for that, particularly if you know Nintendo Wii, right? Or even the Kinect PlayStation, wherein there's a sensor. If you go to some of the arcades, I saw one that they are also playing with the VR gear, right? The Oculus one that you can place on your head, mounted on your head. So you can also use that as part of ExerGaming. But the question is, how can those medical related conditions or even normal and healthy individuals benefit with this type of exercise? Okay, it's not just about going to the park and just running. Sometimes there's boredom, right? And we want enjoyment so that we can sustain our exercise and at the end sustain the benefit of exercises. Okay, so we have the Nintendo Wii Fit, also the platform balance, right? So so I started in UST in 2007, and in 2008, I was thinking during the time, there's an introduction of the Nintendo Wii. Okay, so Nintendo Wii Fit before it's around 17,000. So it's a bit maybe expensive for the others, but compare that to a virtual laboratory, I was thinking, oh, this one is cheaper compared to those hyperlooting laboratories that cost millions, right, to construct laboratories, environment that is closed for virtual reality. Wherein there's also a virtual reality wherein you can engage with the computer, with the console, with the game, and also engage with your normal environment. Okay, so I started this one as a research. Why? Because before we can talk to those companies, we need to provide some evidence, and this is what I'm going to talk about, so that later on, if you think of other ideas, you need to provide also an evidence and how to do that, how to encourage. For example, you're playing mobile games, and maybe makaisip kayo, you can think of other ways of how to use that mobile game into a different targets or outcomes. Maybe health, maybe social interaction, or maybe I call this one intergenerational collaboration, wherein I'm a teenager and we have maybe a senior citizen. How can this senior citizen adapt with this kind of technology? How can we encourage? I saw some like 40, 50s or playing mobile games, right? So there's really a connection. And this will, I hope at the end of this session, as I mentioned a while ago, it will ignite some of your ideas. So we learn, we collaborate, and then we also try to innovate our thinking with regards to this technology. And as you all know, we are, to be honest, I'm 2 days ago when I'm not, of course not all, no, so I'm not really in a good mood, but disheartened. But I think we can use technology not for the other end of the spectrum, but in a spectrum wherein there's benefits, there's a positivity for everyone. Okay, so I didn't just stop thinking of the ExerGaming in the Philippines. I also went offshore, no, particularly in New Zealand, and tried to focus on a specific condition. So I was doing my PowerPoint presentation, and I was thinking, how can student, because it's a diverse programs or courses. Okay, so I was thinking maybe a basic condition, osteoarthritis, and I discussed that later. Sabi nga, here you learn, di ba? You learn and have some fun. Maybe those students who are not in the medical field can relate to me later while I explain this type of condition. And of course, balance. Okay, so balance thing, because most of the time when you use your gaming as part of exercises, you need to stand and you need to have a good balance. How can this ExerGaming, this gaming technology, help this kind of condition and help this kind of impairment, which is actually loss of balance? Di ba, pag wala kang balance, what can happen? You fall. No? So we want to prevent also falling in patient population individuals or even in a normal or healthy individual. So this is for everyone. Okay, so this is the outline of my discussion or topic right now today. So we have the concept of virtual reality and ExerGaming. Second is the use of VR and ExerGaming, so that we can analyze what are the advantages also and disadvantages of this type of technology, so that we will know its usage. And then virtual reality and ExerGaming in practice and of course in research. As I mentioned a while ago, we need to back up. We need to prove to them that when we design a program, for example, I know some of you are in the entrepreneur, in the business, diba? How can you sell something if you don't have an evidence backed up by research? For those who are nurses here or taking up BS nursing, or even physical education students, no? Right now, a while ago rather, I was talking with the organizer. Maybe a good point of discussion here is, can we make ExerGaming mobile games as part of our PE classes? Right? There is a good innovation in the educational system, no? So putting technology, because for example, in our university, we have dancing, meron namin dancing, fencing, volleyball, basketball, the usual. Even Filipino games like patintero, meron kaming ganyan, yung mga old games. So maybe why not you can use the contemporary one, like ExerGaming. So we're thinking of a laboratory wherein there's a lot of monitors that students can play together. They create a match. Diba? So, and also considering its ergonomics, no? So, at the end of the day, meron bang mga, like for example, in basketball, right? So, I'm a physical therapist, no? So, usual cases, ACL, okay? Yung natatorn yung ligament, no? So, ankle sprain. But in ExerGaming, so do you have, diba? I don't know, dun sa mga nag-game keyboard, mga keyboard warrior daw, diba? You have the thumb exercises, no? So, baka magkaroon ng thumb strain or finger or wrist strain. Okay, so those are the things that you need to consider also in incorporating this one. So we'll talk about that later. And of course, what are the future of ExerGaming? Because to be honest, I'm a physical therapist with medical field background. It's about interprofessional collaboration, because I need also those who are expert in technology that can create a game, right? So I'm here to check if that specific game can really target that specific outcome. Okay. On the other hand, I need also to collaborate with the designs, right? If you want to create a character, like if Nintendo has Mario, can we create a Filipino counterpart of Mario? Like McDonald's, and we have Jollibee, diba? So those things that we can think of later. And then it's a good point of discussion if you have some suggestions, some comments later. Okay, so to give you an overview, I think the impact of ExerGaming that we have also affected us because of the pandemic. So to give you an overview, what is ExerGaming really, and how can it help also during this time? I'll be sharing to you a video all about ExerGaming. All right.
And right now, staying home is very important, but nevertheless, your health is also very important right now. Being active is actually difficult right now, staying at home. But I think there are some conventional and alternative ways wherein you can do physical activity. Of course, also socializing with your loved ones. So there are some innovative ways and creative ways to do that right now with the advent and of course technology being accessible and sometimes affordable. There's what we call now ExerGaming. ExerGaming is actually a combination of exercise and gaming, wherein they use video games, different platforms, commercially available consoles or off-the-shelves consoles, wherein they can do physical activities. Even the 80s and 90s, there's actually available ExerGaming. Not yet named as ExerGaming, but they call this one active gaming only. Most common example is the Dance Revolution. And then in the 90s, there's Nintendo Wii. and then there's PlayStation. This actually veer from the usual extensive laboratories wherein they conduct this virtual reality. Technically, there's a lot of evidence now provided with regards to its use, and there are several advantages in using this thing. When you define exergaming, there should be a specific dosage. Like, for example, there should be an exhaustion because the purpose of exergaming targets a particular health outcomes. Like, for example, if you want to increase endurance, if you want to increase in strength, similar with any other conventional exercises, there should be a specific parameters and dosage, like frequency of the exercise. We can play it actually around 20 to 30 minutes for normal individual. But if you have some conditions, you need to talk to experts. You need to talk maybe to a physical therapist or a doctor if this exergaming is advisable. Most of the studies and most of the researchers right now for exergaming, they target particularly the geriatric population or the older population. This will target their balance, strength, coordination, and of course, their well-being. So the College of Rehabilitation Sciences is actually strong with this kind of technology and wellness. So we incorporate technology and wellness as part of our research agenda. Right now, we're currently doing some activities actually in the pipeline, research activities and activities that involves also students. So we want to bring exergaming as part of our rehab program. It can be an adjunct, it can be an additional exercise, a home exercise program, because yes, we can measure the evidence quantitatively, but also we can measure it qualitatively because most of the participants or people who have used exergaming also express their beneficial effects, particularly in their well-being. Exergaming heightens motivation. So when you are motivated, maybe you are enjoying the game, or maybe you are self-determined to finish a specific task. And I think that's the most important ingredients of exergaming. There's actually fun, there's actually motivation, and of course, it is not just about interaction with the technology, but also interaction with people.
All right, so I think I can dovetail that one with all right. So thank you for listening to that specific short video that will give an overview of our topic for today. So that's the exergaming. Okay, so let's start with the concept of VR and exergaming. So technology really advances not just for purpose of improving our lives, but also part of it is improving the health outcomes. So can you please raise your hand if I mention the following gadgets before, or gaming consoles? Have you seen this one, the black on the upper left hand? You know this one? Anyone can guess what's this one? Kung natatandaan niyo pa. Yes, very good. It's Atari. Yan. Yes, Martin. Did you play this one before? Ayan, nag-raise siya ng hand. Nicole, yes, nandyan. So, this was actually the Atari 2600, okay? Or before, there's a lower version of that Atari. I remember, I'm just playing, di ba, parang joystick lang siya, no? So, yep, that's the Atari before the 90s, no? So, 1990s, yan na yan. And then, of course, there's one familiar kayo, no? On the right side, no, upper right side, it's your family computer. You still remember when you're playing with this one, you need to blow, di ba? You blow the tape and then insert if it's not functioning. So I don't know if you're doing that, or maybe tap, di ba? Tap the game, yung game bala daw niya, di ba? You tap that one and so that you can restart and play again. So, and I think in 2016, 17, they had this mini type, right? they reinvented the family computer, a smaller one, di ba? So that's nice also, so that the new generation right now can actually experience playing video games through Family.com. Yeah. And of course, I think you're familiar with PlayStation. I think that's your generation. Am I right? Is that your generation, PlayStation? So PlayStation, and of course, with the advent of the Nintendo Wii and the Sony Kinect, no. So in the Sony and Nintendo Wii Connect, there's actually now interaction, a real interaction with the user. Okay. So I think you can relate. So I'm happy with that. But again, as I mentioned to you, no, it's actually the culprit of the generation of couch potatoes. No, they're just playing. I remember I'm playing family computer starting 1 p.m. Yeah, 1 p.m. when I was, I think that's elementary and high school, and ended up playing up to 8 p.m. Okay, that's the only entertainment. Though we don't have Facebook during that time. We don't have Twitter. We don't have Instagram or TikTok during that time, and we have just the playing. If you have a PlayStation, you can also invite your friends to come in your house and then play together, right? So there's also a social interaction with this kind of technology. But remember that this kind of technology, this gaming entertainment, is not really created for everyone. To be honest, it's of course nasa adolescent to youth yung age range niya, no? And it is not actually invented or created for health purposes. Like if you see this picture of in a geriatric center, older center like Golden Acres here in Manila, wherein were in that specific agency houses elderly people, no. So they have group interaction. In the US, they use the Nintendo Wii Fit as part of their physical activity because that's very important to us. Okay, right now because of the advent of the pandemic, we're staying at the house, right? We're staying at our home, so in the comfort of our homes. And then what happened? We get bigger. Okay, I remember some of my students also in the Zoom. Oh, we'll be transitioning to face to face. Naku sir, hindi pa po ako nagpapapayat. So those are the things. So maybe this technology can help. Of course, not just physically, but also physiologically, meaning how the body actually works and siguro the metabolism of that specific individual para ma-prevent yung mga other diseases later on. Okay? So that's the concept of VR, no? So technically, when you talk about virtual reality, it can be basic and enhanced. And if you look at this a tree diagram, you can use the hand base or the monitor base. So that's the basic one, okay? Particularly Nintendo Wii Fit, okay, PlayStation. Or you can use the enhance, wherein you create a specific laboratory or structured environment, wherein you can have a partially immersed or fully immersed. So sir, meron pa palang difference yun, no? Pag nag-Nintendo Wii Fit ba ako, am I using a virtual reality? The answer is yes, but it's not really non-immersive, no? You're not really immersed. When you talk about partial immersive, you place, for example, a big wall, okay? You try to, for example, you're inside the room, and then you have a wall wherein there are monitors, right? And then you have projectors, you have the desk, and then you have the head base, as I told you, no, yung virtual reality na meron naka-head mount, no? So that's partially immersive. But when you use that specific gear and to simulate a specific activity, then it becomes fully immersed. In fully immersed, there's actually no interaction with the environment or the real environment. You are fully immersed in the virtual reality. Okay, so we have binocular head base, we have the vehicle simulation or cave. Iba gumagamit ng cave. So cave is a very specific type of virtual reality. So we won't touch on that one. No? So let's define first, no, ExerGaming. So ExerGaming is the ability to tie video games and exercise in a single medium for the benefit of making exercise fun. To be honest, enjoyment is the main component of ExerGaming. ExerGaming, the word gaming, of course, most of you won't like to exercise, no? So, natamad ako, sir. Sometimes some of you are going to the gym, di ba? But it's not just about being, being bulk, di ba? How do you call that? I mean, there's a specific term, Tagalog term for that, di ba? Na mas sobrang muscular, no? So that's not the purpose. So remember, if you want to be fit, I'm a physical therapist. If you want to be fit, it's not just about the strength, okay? Dapat flexible ka rin, flexibility. Okay? So hindi lang puro ganito, fit ka rin. Of course, the third one is you have endurance. Okay? Because you cannot sustain a specific exercise without endurance. Okay? And the fourth one is the body composition. Very important, no? Some are very physically active, pero sir, ba't nagkakasakit sila? Okay? Let's talk about the body composition. So in ExerGaming, it's tie, okay? Tina-tie up nila. So they dovetail video games and exercise. Some definition, video games that also provide exercise, ExerGaming more simply as play and physical activity. But the most important definition that I like is this one by Owen Young in 2010. As early as 2010, they introduced already ExerGaming. So ExerGaming, exercise and gaming, there should be an exertion. Okay? What's the meaning of that? Okay? You have the gaming, the video games, and you have the exercise. For example, you want to target strength, balance, flexibility. That specific game should match the intensity of that specific exercise. That's the reason why when they introduce Nintendo Wii, if you know that, so Nintendo Wii, they have soccer, tennis, baseball. So you are trying to be that specific avatar in the computer, okay? Inside the computer. You are that specific player and playing tennis. So they want to simulate that to you, okay? So the question is, it is ExerGaming if you match the intensity, if there's an exertion, okay? So even though, for example, you're playing tennis and then that specific game will tell you to sit down, okay, and just move your wrist up and down, that's not ExerGaming, okay? Yes, there's an activity, but it doesn't match the specific and it doesn't simulate a specific task. So the question is, sir, bakit, what if I'm doing that? I can do that actually outside, right? That's the question. I can simulate that physical activity. For example, running. In Nintendo Wii Fit and in Kinect, there's running, di ba? Sa Nintendo Switch, meron ding yoga and Zumba. So if you are running, why not I do that outside, the real exercise? Okay. So this is the thing, okay? For example, in some individuals, sabi ko nga sa inyo, may boredom, paulit-ulit na lang tong exercise na to. So why not use ExerGaming as a counterpart or an adjunct to your exercise so that the benefits of the real exercise will also match the exercise that we have here in ExerGaming. So if you address that, if you have that specific component, then it's ExerGaming. Okay, is that clear? Okay, so we can move. So a lot of investors now, put money in ExerGaming, in technology. So it's not just about the TikTok, the Facebook, social media, but also in this type of technology that will benefit not just the younger individuals, but also the older adults or the geriatrics, the elderly. Okay, so for the elderly, there are some things that we need to address. Falls, balance problem, conditions. Sir, why is it also in the teenagers, okay, sa mga bata? Bakit, sir, kailangan and importante din to? It is because that ExerGaming can be part of the preventive aspect so that we veer away with obesity, physical inactivity. So gusto rin nating ilipat din yun, no? And at the same time, contemporary talaga ngayon is our mental health. Okay? Lalo na nung pandemic, no? How can we, we're bored in the house, four corners of our house. Maybe if we introduce earlier ExerGaming, then baka nakapag-game pa sila together with their loved ones, di ba? So baka si lola or the grandmother can play together with the kids, no? It's a part of bonding. So that's the thing that the reason why investors also put money in this type of area. Okay? So we've mentioned non-immersive, semi-immersive, and fully immersive. No, so the one that you see below is actually the non-immersive type of VR. No, you still have connection with the real environment. And then there's the second one with the wall. That's your semi-immersive. No, a bit 70 to 80% you are in that specific forest. No, there's a forest. Maybe the person is running, so that's the forest. You're having interactive with that specific game. And then the other one with the gloves and manipulate, I told you, you simulate something, then it's a fully immersed or full immersed virtual reality. So technically, ExerGaming can be under non-immersive and semi-immersive. 90s ExerGaming tools. So you have 90s, we have this one. Actually, in the US, the dance revolution was part of their PE classes na. Okay, so PE classes uses this one. It can be an interactive together with the students. No, so medyo advanced na sila. And of course, the main reason for this one is because in the US, because of the junk foods, their fast food chains, tumaas talaga ang cases ng obesity. Even in the Philippines also. So they use this one as part of their classes, PE classes. Okay, and so I encircle 2006 because that's the time I allow myself to search on this type of platform. No, so we have those consoles in since 2006. So parang 2 years ako na delay, no, kasi 2008 ako nag-start. We use this one not for the normal individuals but for patients with cerebrovascular accident, or commonly called as stroke. No, so yung na-stroke, naalala niyo pag nakikita niyo sila, no, yung mahina yung katawan on the one side of their body, no, there's a weakness on the other side of the body. Some can walk, some are bedridden, but we use this one for patients with CVA or stroke. So, okay, so those are the early tools for ExerGaming, but there's also they use inertial sensors. No, so they use the power of the sensors. Like for example, this is my iPhone. There's an accelerometer. No, so what I did, for example, this remote can generate data. So those sa mga, I don't know, engineer ko, may engineering sa ating ngayon. So those with accelerometer can get data from this phone and transfer to a computer. Okay, so I'll give you an example later how we use this one. Pressure source also. So when you step, you give a weight, so they can sense the pressure on your foot, no? And of course, the camera system, the sensing system. That's the more what do you call this one? This is more innovative and more contemporary type of ExerGaming device. So when I searched the literature, so sigurado ko ba, sir, ginagamit ba yan? Talagang may effect ba yan? Okay, of course, I need to search on this one. And most of the ExerGaming area use Nintendo Wii Fit, followed by PlayStation, followed by Xbox Kinect. And this is for the commercially available. So the reason why I touch commercially available because I want you to relate, because if I talk about the different cameras that we are using here in the laboratory, it might not be related, it might not be interesting to you, no? So so I focus on the available games. So what's the main reason why I started those tools? No? So according to the World Health Organization, in 2015 to 2050, the population are getting older na, no? So 15, 2020, look at the Philippines, no? So Japan, China, Canada, European countries are getting older talaga, 30% or more. And one of the problem here is how can we connect with them and how can we help them? So as a physical therapist and a researcher, I want to improve their activities of daily living. I want this technology part of their recreation and leisure. And I think the most important today, and I think in the future, is the quality of life. I know sometimes Filipinos forget about quality of life because we work hard, we study hard, right? We study hard, and we try right now. We are aware right now that we need to strike a balance between our studies. The reason why we have this kind of activity, no, to at least change our focus, to refocus, so that when once we go back again to our academics, we're very, parang energized. There's a lot of ideas, no. So quality of life is very important as a student, as a Filipino, and as an individual, diba? So I think these three are checked to us, not just with older adults, no. So since I mentioned about medical conditions, I will just talk about few: osteoarthritis and falls. I think this is very common. No? So let's define, I think, osteoarthritis. So arthritis, narinig niyo yan, no? Common sa knee area. So pag sinabi natin arthritis, joint. Okay? Osteoarthritis. Arthritis means joint. Osteo means bone. Okay? So have you heard of osteoporosis? That's different from osteoarthritis. Okay? Osteoporosis is a problem mainly in the bone itself, but osteoarthritis is a problem with the bone, with the joint. Okay? Dun sa joint area. Like for example, sa fingers natin, sa wrist, these are the wrist joint, this is the wrist joint, these are the joints at the fingers. No? So this highly prevalent in the world globally. So I don't know, maybe some of your parents or your grandma, grandpa, the grandfather maybe have osteoarthritis, no? So maybe you can recommend some exercises later on to them, no? Or maybe play with them if you have this type of technology. So there's both prevalence and the risk factors are increasing, no? Because of obesity, because of increase in weight, no? The food that we are taking, it's actually increasing. And of course, there's a significant impact in the years life loss due to disability. So if you have some problems with the joint, then you are a bit disabled, no? And you cannot perform and participate in the activities of daily living. Okay? So I'm part of the Osteoarthritis Tissue Society International. So we try to see and check that osteoarthritis is not just arthritis, it's a serious disease. Okay? So hindi lang natin pwedeng sabihin, arthritis lang yan. No. Okay? It's a serious disease because it's actually limiting us to participate with our tasks every day. Pag sinabi natin activities of daily living, these are the usual brushing, shower, okay? Pag nag-walk ka, hindi ka makapaglakad early in the morning. So these are affected. Okay? So it's a serious disease. It's not just a disease now. So again, it's common in the knee joint. So just to give an overview, so bakit sir nagkakaroon ng osteoarthritis, no? So sabi ko nga sa inyo, obesity is one of the problem. Anatomical abnormalities, so may problem dun sa configuration ng body, ng particularly the bone. Loss of joint instability, so baka meron ng history of ligament tear because of maybe an accident, maybe while playing basketball, volleyball, and there's a trauma in the knee. So because of that abnormal stress and the other things, there are any other things? Of course, aging, pag tumatanda, genetic and metabolic diseases, inflammation or there's a swelling in the knee joint, and of course, immune system activity. So both of these things actually leads to a biophysical and biochemical changes. Thus, there's a cartilage breakdown. So the main problem in osteoarthritis is that there's a joint destruction. No? So nagkaroon ng joint destruction, as you've seen in the photo, in the image, there's a joint destruction. It will cause, of course, pain. Okay, pain and instability. Okay, so stiffness, weakness, instability, and functional impairment, no? So these are the things that we need to consider. So napansin nyo kanina yung ExerGaming, may mga outcomes, no? And these are the outcomes that we want to address. Can ExerGaming decrease the pain, the stiffness, the weakness, the functional impairment, and instability, okay, of that specific joint? Okay? On the other hand, napanggit ko yung knee joint, yung falls naman. So maraming ngayon nagsasabi na falls are the leading cause of morbidity and mortality in the aging population. And approximately 15 to 33% of adults age 65 and older experience a fall every year. So mayroong mga nadadapa, nahuhulog. Usually, most of the falls happen inside, particularly sa bathroom, no, sa CR. Nadudulas sila. Okay? So it leads to fracture and it leads to other comorbidities as well. So I want you to focus on the risk factors, no? So kadalasan pag matanda, usually female, okay, the race are the intrinsic factors. These are the contributing factors why falls is very important to address, no? So sila yan, no, mga biological. There are some socio-economical, some extrinsic factors like poor lighting, loose carpet, lack of bathroom and safety equipment, and some are behavioral. Okay, but the most common is that if you will see biological, the osteoarthritis and falls parang same, sir, no? Parang goes hand to hand. Pag may osteoarthritis ka, pang matanda rin, there's weakness also. So they go hand in hand. So maybe we were thinking that can ExerGaming or can ExerGaming really address this one? And there's an overlapping, no? So I mentioned to you, overlapping yung knee osteoarthritis and falls. So what are the risks of falls for knee osteoarthritis? No? So we'll see that there's an overlapping risk factors. Okay? So I have knee OA. So baka meron akong tendency to fall later on, no? Or to fall because there's weakness and there's pain. So what we did a systematic review. So for those who are in the first year and second year, whether I think all of the programs or all the courses will have research component. No? Systematic review is similar to are part of actually your literature review. So what we did is to try to check the literature, what they are saying. So our systematic review entitled Risk Factors for Falls in Older Adults with Osteoarthritis. So we're thinking, what are the factors that affects falls in a patient or in a condition of knee osteoarthritis. So what we found there is that we searched the literature. So hopefully maging familiar kayo sa mga ganitong electronic databases na Science Direct, Scopus. I know that Ateneo is also a research university, no? So they encourage you to also to search for evidences, no? So we did a systematic way of getting articles from the body of literature. So what are our findings, no? So our findings that if you have an impaired balance, if you have weakness, if you have painful joint and presence of comorbidities, then what you can have is that you are risk of falling. Okay, so it means that you have these problems, plus you have knee osteoarthritis. This is very critical to increasing the risk of falls. Ibig sabihin yun, meron kang osteoarthritis, you are critical of having an incidence of fall later on. So as a physical therapy and a clinician, I need to create a program. Eh sir, paano yun? Yung mga matatanda, they don't want to exercise. This is where ExerGaming came in. So, okay, maybe they will have some form of an entertainment, no? Before they use Tai Chi, so there's also high evidence in performing Tai Chi, no? So if you know Tai Chi, yung mga na parang Chinese sounds na, or song rather, or music na they are playing, and then they're trying to do balance, no? So we use that, but it's actually boring for some. So we need to sustain that again, the exercise. So we need additional study in order to make sure that these risk factors are warranted, okay, for decreasing the risk of falls. So we talk about knee osteoarthritis that is overlapping. So the next question is, we want to examine, okay, what are the symptoms? Talaga bang parehas sila? So what we did is to invite some people and we check the relationship between a falling, an osteoarthritis patient with history of falling. So this kind of study is what we call cross-sectional studies. No? So in academe and in research, cross-sectional study is known as the snapshot. Yan yung nag-survey ka. So for example, a survey. So this is my survey right now. So I want to see right now who are depressed or who have some anxiety post-election. So you conduct a survey. So that type of study is a cross-sectional study because you want to see the relationship of maybe anxiety to the result of the election. Okay? Mataas ba, mababa ba? So again, cross-sectional study, we're talking about now. Okay, the now, the snapshot of a specific experience. Okay? So we have variables that we need to check. So ang variables natin, nag-fall ba yung pasyente? Ang variables natin are knee osteoarthritis, balance, pain, stability, strength, and physical function. Okay? So what we did is to show you that we did a specific, again, systematic recruitment I did this one in New Zealand. No? So just to see you that when you conduct your research, you need to have a particular patients or particular maybe subjects, okay, participants in your study. Whether, and I think in any other field, in any field naman talaga, we have the subject, no. So we need to have a criteria for this one. So you don't need to understand this one, but you need to fully understand this slide. But I want you to look at the participants, how you screen them, and the outcome measure. So for example, again, going back to my example a while ago, you want to see the anxiety, no? So dapat meron kang pang-measure ng anxiety. Okay? And siguro, one of the criteria for your subject is siguro may naka-vote sila, no? They voted for this election. So those are the things that you need to consider. Okay? So those are the concept of VR. Let's go now with the use of VR and ExerGaming. So virtual reality versus augmented reality versus mixed reality. Sir, yung when I have this Pokemon, ano yung Pokemon na hanahanap nyo, no? I didn't play that, to be honest. But is that virtual reality? Sabi ko nga, may exercise ba dun, sir? Kasi hinahanap mo siya, nagmo-move ka, di ba? Any movement. So again, as I mentioned, ExerGaming, dapat ma-meet mo yung intensity. There's an exhaustion. Eh kung nagmo-move ka lang ng ganyan, looking for the red one, I don't know what's the name of that, no. So I didn't play that specific game, no. So but Pokemon is actually a type of augmented reality. So what's the difference? Okay, let's see. So what's the difference between virtual reality, augmented reality, no, and mixed reality? So I'll share to you a video, a very good video to define that. Okay.
Your idea is waiting to be seen. GoDaddy Websites Plus Marketing has everything you need to put it on display.
So let's see.
You see terms like AR, VR, and MR everywhere nowadays. But what does it mean, and what are the differences? AR stands for augmented reality. You use a device, like a phone, to overlay a digital element onto the real world. This is limited to the size of your screen. You see terms like AR, VR, and MR everywhere nowadays. But what does it mean, and what are the differences? AR stands for augmented reality. You use a device, like a phone, to overlay a digital element onto the real world. This is limited to the size of your screen. You also have augmented reality glasses. These normal-looking glasses will place slightly transparent holograms onto your surroundings, but you can't really interact with them, aside from using buttons on the glasses themselves. VR stands for virtual reality. You put on a non-transparent headset, which shows you a completely digital environment. This means you can hang out in space or travel the world in 80 minutes, for example. Pretty cool. like the HoloLens 2. This also places semi-transparent holograms into your surroundings. The big difference is that it has built-in cameras that scan your eyes, hands, and environment. This lets you interact with the holograms. You can stretch, rotate, or move them around, even on top of real-world objects. This makes it ideal for learning in your own environment. Oh, and maybe you've seen the term XR as well. That stands for extended reality, which is the umbrella term for all these cool technologies. Something not clear? Just leave us a comment.
All right. So I think that's very clear, no? AR, VR, and mixed reality, no? So all of them are part of the immersive reality or extended reality. No? So right now, I think you can now differentiate between those terms, no? So I think we already established that. So again, VR. So again, you have something, you need to manipulate something, no, in order to interact. With augmented reality, similar with your Pokemon, no? So you can see, you can just play, but you cannot really move the objects, no? But if you have that augmented reality and you try to manipulate the object, then it's a mixed reality. So I think this one is very good also. Pwede siyang maging gaming, no? So talagang, lalo na pag pwede kang mag-interact using your hand gestures, no? Or even the head gesture. Like for example, in IG, no? Sa mga IG stories na nakita ko, they can play yung side, di ba? They can answer or open your mouth or even your eyebrows, di ba? So you can really interact. So that's part of an extended reality. So it's by definition, it can be virtual, it can be augmented, and it can be mixed reality. So hopefully right now, since marami ng virtual reality, sana dumami na yung mixed reality, no? So again, but again, we need to study everything in terms of is it ethical to use that for a specific area, like in medicine or maybe in business as well, no? So how can we make things automated, no, for all of us? So yan ang next challenge actually. Okay, so those are the three definitions in order for us to understand the use of ExerGaming, no? So the usage, so endurance, balance, and vestibular, no? Vestibular is yung mga nahihilo, no? So paano sila mai-improve, no? So ma-improve yung ano nila, yung particularly na hindi sila sumasakit ng ulo, and at the same time they can balance themselves from one position to another position. There's also physical activity, then I think that's the most the biggest part. Motor function, cognitive, behavioral, and pain. To be honest, I remember I met this guy from the US, no? So they use that for dentistry. Okay? So bakit dentistry? So habang they do the enamel extraction, para hindi sumakit-sakit yung bata, instead of having a light, they have a TV and then they're playing. Diba? So they try to shift now the attention instead of the pain, sa kid, naglalaro sila. Okay, so that's another use of ExerGaming. For us, like sa PT, if you have yung na-burn, for example, na-burn ka dito sa side na to, so we need to debride that. If we need to debride that manually, no? So we remove the black color, no? So that we prevent infection and so that there will be proper healing. So we try to remove those debris. In Tagalog, that's langib, if you know that, yung pag nagsugat ka after may nabubuo, di ba? So we try to remove that for burn patients so that there will be new skin to develop. So masakit yon, as in the patient might say something, you know, masakit, and then what we do is actually to reverse, meron nakita na reverse that specific pain. They are actually watching a game or playing a game through joystick. So you can avoid that specific experience if you use ExerGaming. So as I mentioned to you, there's also a lot of pathology, no? So stroke, if you know that, Parkinson's disease, if you heard this disease, no? So it's a disease of a movement or motor problem. Balance, yung mga kids na merong cerebral palsy or mental retardation or merong motor problem, delayed problem, aging population, and weight control. If you look at the numbers, ang dami talaga sa mga bata na may cerebral palsy, no? So may mga merong problem with movements, okay? So they are cognitively okay, but the problem is that they cannot control their movements because of an involuntary movement. So they're affected. So mas ginagamit siya dun sa mga bata before, ang dami kasing research, mas nauna because yung laro is pang bata, okay? Than pang matatanda. Okay, so these are the list of for the younger population. So overweight, so we need physical activity. Those children with developmental delay, children with cerebral palsy, and those with autism spectrum disorders. So this you can use ExerGaming with this type of individuals. So again, it is not just for normal or healthy individuals, but also with the patient population. Okay, another one is that overweight adults, meron din. Women with systemic lupus erythematosus or lupus, you can also use that. There's already a study that they use ExerGaming in this population. Those with vestibular, yung masakit yung ulo, no, nahihilo. Patients with orthopedic rehabilitation, no, those who have injury, amputees, COPD patient stands for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, no? So those with pulmonary problems, no? Because they have problem with endurance. They cannot sustain an activity. Pagod sila kaagad. They experience fatigue. So they use ExerGaming as part of their recovery, no? And those like me, I have a low back pain because right now we're sitting most of the time because of the this kind of platform that we are using, no? The Zoom. Okay? So, talagang maghapon ako po because of this one. But we try to stand, no? So again, our tip to you, every 30 minutes you try to stand, okay? Particularly if you're not the speaker, no? So for me, it's okay. So speaker ako, so I can just to sit down for now. But if you're listening, you try to move around, try to walk. If you have headset while you're listening to me, then that's okay. Okay? Sa mga older and middle adults, we have multiple sclerosis, cancer, stroke patient, and patient with a spinal cord injury, meaning a problem with the spine because of a trauma, accident. It can be motor vehicular accident or car accident. No? So pwede rin sila. Okay? Basta cognitively, they can follow a specific game. Okay? So I'll give you a specific example, and you will be amazed with this one. So what we did last 2007, the very first experiment that we did, we tried to include patients with cerebrovascular accident or stroke. So what happened is that, oops, I have this one. I have a prop. So this is the tennis. Okay, yun ang bago ngayon. Meron ng Nintendo Wii na tennis talaga. No? So they put the remote here, accelerometer, and what happened is that they actually do and simulate the tennis. Okay, so we have the backhand if they want, and then the strike actually in front, no? So they have movements. So if you notice this one, di ba pag nagte-tennis ka, pag ganyan, di ba? Pa-up, okay? Parang diagonal. You're making a diagonal movement, okay? So okay, let's have a patient with stroke. Doc, kala ko ba hindi gumagalaw yung kamay nila? No, they can actually use that, okay? They can actually move their hands. The problem during that time is that they cannot handle the remote. So if you look at the photos, or the photo rather, we put a bandage so that the patient can hold, okay? For example, this now the remote, okay? What happened is that we program, there's an accelerometer here in the remote. We have a program wherein they can transfer the movement. Okay? So, a stroke patient will look like this one. Tingnan niyo ako. So, pag naggumanag sila, okay, there's a staggering and jerky movement. Okay? So, hindi nila nakompleto. Hindi nila nagawa nung una. Okay? So, what we did, okay, sige, let's have a physical therapy and let's provide an innovative form of entertainment exercise. So, they use that. Okay? So naisip ko na doon sa mga nagmo-mobile games, no? Baka pwede kayong gumawa ng talagang activity na paano pag hand strain, di ba? Pwede kayong magmawa ng, you can create a game that can actually help no, to heal specific injury meron sa hand. So if you want that. But if you want more physical, you can use this type of technology. No? So what happened? What we did 6 weeks, 6 week, 3 times a week na exercise for them. They use tennis as part of their game, and we include some of the games that they choose. Of course, we want sustainability of the program, no? So namili sila, they play soccer, umiiwas silang ganyan, they play the hula, they play the penguin, and the running, no? So what happened is that we transferred the data, no, from the computer and from the Nintendo Wii remote. No? Look at this one, okay? So I'll explain it. Kala niyo, sir, sir, gulo, complicated. No, just look at this one. So the experimental group, okay, had the Nintendo Wii Fit, okay? So what happened during the first, okay, nita nyo, parang magulo, no? Magulo, ang daming deflection, ang daming red, green, tsaka yung blue sa baba, no? So what happened is that the accelerometer, we have a different axis. So dun sa mga engineers or sa may mga math, alam nyo to, nung geometry nyo, nung third year or senior high kayo, y-axis, x-axis, and z-axis, no? So the x-axis is blue, the y-axis is green, and the red is the z or the z-axis. So if nakita nyo, ang daming ganun, no? So ibig sabihin no, nung naglaro sila, ganito itsura. So may up, may y-axis, may z-axis, may x-axis, right? So ang gulo, no? Ang daming random. But when they had control, when they used ExerGaming, look at the graph. Mas smooth na siya. So nung tumira sila ng tennis, the graph is almost smooth. There's no jerky movement. Okay? So simple as that when I explain this one. No? So there's a lot of graph going on, very busy, very complex. But if you look at after 6 weeks, there's a uniform frequency. A while ago, there's a random. So see, this is the experimental group. There's an improvement. So the question is, sir, how come you have that busy graph to a very simple graph after 6 weeks of training? Okay, let's look at first, before we go with that, let's look at first the control group. The control group have PT only. Okay? A while ago, this group may PT tsaka merong ExerGaming. Ito, walang ExerGaming na grupo. Physical therapy lang. Una, busy. Nakita nyo, busy sa kabilang side. This one is very busy, the narrow and lower dominant. But nung nag 6 weeks, medyo nag-improve. Pero if you look at the arrows pointing down, there's still a problem. So, ibig sabihin nun, jerky pa rin yung movement nila nung una. Medyo mahina nga, medyo quick siguro yung mga pasyente, no? Mababa yung kanila. So, nag-move sila. Parang baka they use also their shoulder to move the remote so that they can simulate the strike or tira nila for their tennis, no? But if you see, may konting movement pa after. Again, compared to the other one, medyo malinis, okay? Yung uniform, yung frequency. So, sir, what's the reason behind that ExerGaming? So the take-home message was the practice-induced neuroplasticity. Sir, what's that? Neuroplasticity, okay? So, just a very good example of this one. Di ba, yung mga blind, di ba, asan sila magaling? Anong sense ang magaling sila? Sa hearing, di ba? So in neuroplasticity, if ever one is actually occluded, there's from the word plasticity, nasa na-expand, napaplasticize siya, pa-plastic siya, they also, in the brain, they also occupied some of the things na ma-enhance palalo, which is actually auditory. So those who are blind, they are really very, very sharp actually sa mga naririnig nila. On the other hand naman, yung mga hindi makarinig, okay, they have really good vision. Okay, so that's neuroplasticity. So it means that they can adapt. And we call that motor control. The reason why nung una nahihirapan sila because they don't have that control of that specific movement. But with the use of the eye, the visual, and the coordination, they try to do it now smoothly compared to the previous one. Okay? So it's good, no, that ExerGaming is really helpful, no? So there's a multi-sensory feedback which mimic a realistic environment. This is a bit low cost, no? 'Di ba? Medyo low cost siya. Bakit? Mas mura siya compared dun sa mga mamahal na machines, okay? And there's a shift focus on immediate tasks and heightened motivation towards therapy. Okay? So there's a balance between using that specific machine and the physical therapy they are receiving. Okay? So these are some of the exercises from balance, no? So ang dami ko nakitang mga games kanina, no? So yung iba doon nagamit ko sa mga pasyente. Ito yung basic, no? Lalo na sa mga matatanda. So these are the basic things that we can actually use. So my challenge to you right now, maybe we can create a counterpart, no? So instead of having Wii Fit, baka merong Filipino tailored Filipino games for us. Like for example, baka pa pwedeng magkaroon ng virtual reality on tumbang preso, on patintero. So, di ba? So baka pa pwede tayong mag-create ng sarili natin instead of just buying those Western. Of course, I'm not saying that they're not good, but we need to tailor this if you really want to target our parang Filipino culture natin. Okay? So, hindi lang naman yung result lang na yun. I also interviewed them. Tignan natin anong sa interview. I interviewed them based on their experiences. Okay? So sabi nila, ExerGaming boosts motivation, interaction with ExerGaming, and the barriers using ExerGaming. So ano yung mga nakuha kong mga themes during the interview? So dun sa mga nasa social sciences na field, of course, qualitative research is also very important. Okay? So after getting the information from your interviewees, you try to categorize them, you try to code them, kinocode yung mga words. Then we categorize and eventually you arrive or emerge in a specific themes. Okay? We have ExerGaming boost motivation. Sabi nila, oh yes, once that got into feel of it, it was enjoyable. So the boost of motivation, one of the cause is actually enjoyment. Of course, there's enjoyment. In psychology, there's a principle of what we call time flies, or what we call flow theory. Flow, meaning flowing. Flow theory. Okay, in the flow theory, a very good example of that, if for example, sumakit yung paa mo, but you really want to win this basketball game. Okay, you have a basketball game. You are now playing basketball even though you have knee pain. Okay? So, nasa-zone in ka, you are in that specific zone and you enjoy. So, ginamit ito yon for ExerGaming, no? The flow theory. Wherein yung mga matatanda, yung mga batang may back pain, ginagamit nila yung ExerGaming, they can still exercise without noticing that they have the condition, that they have the disease. Okay? So, really enjoy. Time flies talaga. Another one, they boost motivation because of competitiveness. And sabi nga nila dito, I enjoy them like probably competitively as well as competing against yourself every time. So every time they move a specific level, no? Ba't ka nagtatagal mag-Mobile Legend? Diba? Ba't ka nagtatagal maglaro sa mobile mo? Kasi competitive ka and you're trying to do it, no? To try to beat yourself or beat the kalaban, diba? So same thing, no? So because of this competitiveness, yung patient ko nag-exercise, nag-move, right? Nag-move siya kahit alam niya may sakit siya, di ba? So that's competitiveness. And then sense of accomplishment. As I told you, this one is not really for all, no? It's not invented for health purposes, but invented for entertainment purposes. So this seems that there's a self of accomplishment, particularly sa mga elderly, no? Because kaya ko nang matapos yung game, natapos ko siya on my own. Okay? So ExerGaming boosts motivation. Interaction with ExerGaming, dalawa, technology and social and family. So first, technology, alam ko sa inyo, some of your parents, paano nga ba to? Paano nga ba to laruin? Paano nga ba to i-move? Etc. Sa phone, di ba? Paano nga ba i-copy ulit to? Paano ba ako mag-post? Di ba? So they're asking you. But in this one, even though that I don't play those games, sabi niya, we don't have any of this, don't watch TV quite often, you know, it's easy to navigate. So the most important thing in technology for everyone is dapat mas madali siyang gamitin, right? So it's easy to use, Okay? And at the same time, there's an interaction with family. As I mentioned to you, you can play with your loved ones. Okay? They play sabi nila, they play with their kids and enjoy it as well. Okay? And the third one is the barrier. Ito na. Siyempre, hindi naman perfect lagi yung ExerGaming or any type of technology. Number one, accuracy. So some, of course, dun sa mga those low patient participants, they try to, ayaw naman mag-move. Diba? May ganyan tayo minsan. Yeah. So accuracy might be one of the problems. So hopefully, it will be addressed soon. And then, there's a repetition. Of course, in any game, like for example, if you finish a level, sometimes they need to exercise and go back again to the same level. So repetition is one of the barriers for the use of ExerGaming. So hopefully there's a variety of games available that is applicable also for them, because not all games are applicable. So we can't really vary those games. Okay? So the question is, are we ready? Okay, for the research, no? So there's a lot, no? Dumadami na ang mga klase ng research from 2008 to 2015. Nag-stop ako ng 2015 because right now, it's already booming. Okay? So still, Nintendo Wii Fit ang pinakamataas, no? Dance Revo, medyo mababa na lang din. Okay? So these are the publications that will give us an evidence that is actually useful for elderly. Also, I use this one for balance, no? So you have a patient, may TV siya sa harapan. So if you notice, no, sorry for the photo, no. So meron siyang pressure sensor sa baba, naka-harness siya for safety, and nagigame siya right and left. So for the safety of the patient, this is a sample of semi-immersive, no. So naglalaro siya, not really lalaro, also assessing and testing the patient. Okay, so you can use that as well. So these are some of the results, no? So it will give you a sensory organization test. Medyo baksak siya. Kaya napansin nyo red. So they don't mind the numbers. No? They look at the color red. Ibig sabihin nun failed. And what happened to this one, the alignment sa body niya. Ito yung box doon. Mas marami siyang dot sa may left side, sa likod. So medyo parang ang dating sa akin dito, doon sa sensor niya sa plate, yung tinatapakan niya, it's a bit towards the left side. So if you ask me, that specific patient is leaning towards the left. Okay? Minsan pag nakatayo tayo, di ba, meron tayong stance, no? So yan, na-determine din nung machine, no? So those are the samples. So again, exercise is to be found very beneficial, no? But we need to have an enjoyable exercise. And not just enjoyable, but the patient must adhere to that specific exercise. Okay? That's the reason why we want to test talaga, no? Kung talagang okay ba talaga ang ExerGaming in terms of rather intensity, endurance, and the time, no? So, tinignan namin yung protocol. Sabi ko dun sa video ko kanina, at least 30 minutes is okay. Okay? So, gumawa kami ng parang parameters, 30 minutes is okay to exercise, lalo na sa matatanda. Pero siguro pag sa mga bata, you can get more than 30 minutes. A bit siguro kung kaya niyo yung 1 hour exercise or 60 minutes of exercises, no? That includes cool down and warm up exercise. Okay, sa mga nagba-basketball. Meron mang basketball. Ano ba? I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ateneo de Manila used Nintendo Wii Fit. Ang ginawa nila, di ba yung pag nag-free throw, okay, they use that specific sensor, yung na kumukuha ng mga data. They use that so that they know what specific yung pag-throw. Meron kasi ibang pitik yun, di ba? When you do have the free throw, di ba? For those who are playing basketball. So, that's motor control. You train your muscles at the wrist na tama yung tinitira mo. So, para perfect ka pag nag-free throw ka. So, those are the things that application for this ExerGaming. I remember it, I think that's 2018, 2019. Okay? So again, tama dapat ang dosage, okay? Tama dapat, of course, safety nandun. We need to have safety of our patient. And then, of course, the type of gaming and the setting is very important, okay? So we need to select the games, no? And then there's a limitation of the shelf gaming. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, yung mga available, no, so commercially off-the-shelf gaming is limited. So we want to expand. We want to be more creative and create more games applicable for everyone. And of course, there's a uniformity of the games for if you want to do it for health purposes, no. Dosage, yan. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, there's a large variability of the exercise parameters. So ako, I suggest again, although conflicting yung mga dosage or the required parameters, 30 minutes of exercise is already enough. So if you wanted to make it regular as part of your physical activity, 30 minutes, okay, 3 times a week is enough. Okay, lalo na sa mga elderly. Pero pag medyo bata pa kayo, pwede nyo i-increase yung intensity. Okay? You can also increase the time, okay, the duration. And don't forget the safety, yeah, no? So I think there's no really reported falls, but the problem is there's no calibration reported. So hopefully most of those who are using it report calibration so that it will be parang maayos. Kumbaga, pag ginamit mo yung machine, maayos muna siya para maayos din siyang gumana. Okay? So we are now creating wellness, the contour rehabilitation and wellness. We try to use this game usually dun sa may mga hand problem, and meron din kaming gustong ma-simulate ng driving. No? Dun sa mga may nagka-injury tapos di na makapag-drive, baka pa pwede silang makabalik sa driving. Yan. So, we're doing this wonder ergonomic things. No? So, yan, look at me. I'm trying to do driving, no, by using this kind of rejoice. Ang tawag namin dyan, rejoice. No? So, sa stick. So, nagda-drive siya, right, left. Okay? And these are my part of my team, no? And then we're also looking at ExerGaming and well-being, no? So right now, baka we can collaborate also. This one, kasama ko one of my colleagues, no, in Thailand. So sa Thailand, uso yung mga, di ba, well-being, yung mga state of parang balance and equilibrium in their life, no? Or maybe we can use this one in community-based rehabilitation. So these are itong patient na to or participant na to, it's in Rizal. So it's in the province. So we want to integrate this ExerGaming not just in the city, but also in the rural areas. Okay? So maganda rin siyang pwedeng gamitin doon. No? Na doon sa atin, parang sabihin natin, technology na yan, okay lang. But sa kanila, high-tech na, high-tech pala to. No? So, ganyan. So maybe we can use this one, not just in the city, but of course not in the urban area, but also in the rural areas. And next, baka pwede na ito nangyayari na to ngayon eh. Yung like for example, if you're a member of Fitness First and Anytime Fitness, no? So meron ng treadmill na merong may video na, di ba? Napansin niyo yun? Nadideviate yung isang client na tumakbo lang siya, di ba? Tumakbo lang, wala mo nang tumakbo, hindi na maboard kasi meron siyang TV. So maybe we can use this one. We can use the VR soon. So hopefully, makapag-simulate kami ng mga ganyan. And then, of course, we want the augmented reality soon. Yan. Ito yung augmented reality, yung Pokemon na yan. Okay? So as a physical therapy, we want that ExerGaming to be part of our kit. Okay? So part of our exercise, part of our intervention for our patient. And again, it should be evidence-based. There's clinical expertise, and there's patient values and preference. Our sa mga nurses and doon sino nasa allied health, our purpose is always patient-centered. So nakafocus kami naka-center kami sa mga pasyente namin. Their needs, okay? Yun ang very, very important right now. And the question right now, are we in the finish line? So I think not yet for ExerGaming. I hope ExerGaming will expound and extend not just in the health sciences field, but also to other fields such as physical education, exercise, sports management, also in the field of the business. And hopefully we expand them. All right.
Right. Thank you so much to our dear speaker, Dr. Donald Manlapaz, for a very eye-opening presentation. I myself, if the ExerGaming games or devices were to be commercialized and readily available, I would be looking forward to exercising with motivation or enjoy my physical exercise. Okay? I hope that our participants, of course, enjoy the webinar and gain something as much as I did. And of course, everyone did have a great learning experience from our webinar today. Of course, there were talks about how the of how integrating the ExerGaming to our educational systems. He is is a very a great integration of ExerGaming. As what if it's more rewarding to play games with additional video game features, like once you score points, you visually see that you scored your point +1, and of course experience points. Maybe we can have integration like that. And of course, there were very much discussions on the use of ExerGaming, how it helps in neuroplasticity, how it plays like enjoyment, competitiveness, and of course sense of accomplishment in doing ExerGaming. Right now, to check your understanding of our activity today, and I'm sure you have an idea with our topic relating to games and all. Yes, it's a quiz. Yeah. And ang hindi nakakuha ng mga tamang sagot, walang certificate and hindi makakala sa Zoom. Carla. Pero ayan, as you can see, it's a game. Yan. It's of course just a quick, fast-paced guessing game in which you will win a prize. Yes, only you, as we can only declare one winner. The mechanics are audio or music or even a wild card sound effect coming from popular games is going to be played by our staff for 3 seconds. Just be quick. And after 3 seconds, the first participant to send the correct answers after I give the go signal, or if you can, starting from the last chat, after, is, of course, the first correct answer will be declared the winner. And of course, the winner will receive a Gcash prize. Hindi pa natin kaya ang Steam points, guys. So, okay na tayo ata sa Gcash prize. Right? And of course, if there are no correct answers yet, halimbawa, hindi ko familiar participants doon sa soundtrack na binigay, then of course, we can opt for another question or soundtrack to use. Alright? Let's go on to our first sound. Okay? And guys, wow, ang bilis talaga ng ating mga gamers. But of course, we anticipated this. You didn't. To reiterate, guys, I need to have the go signal. Guys, pina-play pa lang natin. Okay? So, trial pa lang to, guys. My second one, may prepared naman tayong next na sound. Okay? But in record time, the first to ever answer is Mr. Ramon. So, ganyan, guys, ha? So, once I give the go signal, very important, guys. Ha? After marinig natin ang sound, then I give the go signal, and of course, send us your answer. Of course, yan. Quick lang, guys, ha? And of course, tama nga. The sound was from Super Mario Brothers, a very nice, a very classic, very popular even today, the Nintendo game. Alright, okay lang ba, guys? That was just a trial. Kasi bibilis nyo talaga, guys. Yan yun. Pahina po ng background music. Oh, okay. Sige, we'll take note of that. Thank you so much. Yan. Again, guys, bago magsagot, please, hintayin nyo ang go signal ko. Right? After ma-hear ng sound for 3 seconds, then go signal, then your answers. Alright? Ready na mga gamers? Right? Yeah, thank you so much. Now, our next sound is Okay? Ready? My God, guys, ang bilis nyo. Hintayin yung go signal ko, guys. It's very important.
Takman.
And of course, tama nga. Okay. That is Pacman. Sige guys, last na to guys. Please wait for my go signal. Hindi counted pag sumagot na kayo after nyo marinig. Just to have everyone start in the same starting line. Okay? Last na talaga to guys. Last na talaga. Yan. Starting after nung line na ginawa ni Miss Tena Meran. Okay? Our next sound is okay? In 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, kanan niya yes.
Guys. Wala pa nga si go signal, nag-type na. Wait. Moving back. First answer is from Kalel Navera, GTASA. Sorry for speed, pero hindi yan kompleto. So, I guess we can consider the next fastest to answer.
Hindi ako nauna.
Ay, hello. Sino po yung nag-ano? Ay, hindi nag-highlight yung screen.
Sorry. Dapat pala type.
Okay lang yan. So, our second fastest, kasi complete na din, is Avery James de los Santos. Ayan. Congratulations! And guys, limited lang naman talaga ang ating budget. So, one winner lang. But of course, thank you so much to our participants. And of course, congratulations to the winner, Mr. Avery James de los Santos. Kindly please provide your the full name and contact number so that one of our staff will contact you on how to play the prize. Yan. And guys, sa ating mga other gamers, thank you so much for participating nyo. If the rules of the game permit, lahat tayo dapat, sana lahat tayo mananalo. But of course, there are winners, and of course, next time winners. Yan. So for other ACP events, kasi if you have attended other ACP events, then of course you still have chances to win your prize. And of course, thank you so much, Avery James de los Santos, for your contact details. Right? Okay. Since we know na mga active pa and very awake pa ang ating mga gamer participants, we will now move on to the open forum. To make this more interactive, as this is new for our ACP, we encourage to share your messages and questions for our speaker by sending your questions or insights in the Google link that will be sent to you. Yan. The Google link is tinyurl.com ecp.quest. And of course, if you prefer, you can send your questions in the Zoom chat or YouTube comment section, and I will be reading for you. And you have also the preference by raising your hand at the Zoom or by sending. Okay. Okay. While waiting for your questions, may I please call on our first reactor for the webinar, Mr. Reynaldo Zamudio, to give his insights, reactions, or questions to our workshop today. Hello, Rain. You may now take the virtual floor.
Hello po. Narinig po ba ako?
Yes, we can hear.
Yes. Alright. Thank you po. Good afternoon po. Apology that I cannot open my camera right now. But good afternoon po, Doc Donald. Thank you so much po for sharing with us your knowledge and expertise on this specific topic. So as a nursing student po, as early as now, we are already having our nursing care plans and which targets to promote health and wellness, prevent diseases, and restore their well-being. My point is that I think we can include ExerGaming as part of our interventions and health promotions because during this time almost everyone is online and engaging with the technology. But we have this notion that in technology era there are a lot of negative effects of using it, but it is inevitable, and I believe ExerGaming is something that we should expand since it does not give us entertainment alone or pleasure when playing, but it also gives us or provides us with opportunity to exercise. I do not know if this is related, but I have watched medical series or films that they use video games as an effective supplement to traditional therapy. Like motion controllers can be used to practice rehabilitation that can help the patient to be motivated and engaging in rehabilitation. But I like the idea that exercising can be fun and not just a tiring activity. So it is nice to know that there is extra gaming that can promote being active while enjoying, and there's a lot of benefits such as the, improving our endurance, balance, and of course our motor and cognitive function, and that is for all ages. So like as we know, we have sustainable development goal 3, which is ensuring and promoting the well-being for all at all ages. So I just believe that the expansion of this will be at most beneficial for everyone po. Thank you so much for again.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I think 100% I agree with what you've said. No, so yeah, I hope that also part of your nursing intervention you can include that. And with regards to the motion tracker or movement, yes, we're using that right now. Hopefully, it will expand, and as we explore this kind of platform. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rain, and of course to our speaker for giving his reaction to our reactor. And while still some of you are still sending your question, before we open the virtual floor to our participants, let's hear it for Don Benjamin Day, our second reactor. Hello, Don.
Hello, thank you, Jack, for facilitating, and thank you very much to Dr. Donald from Manlapaz, our speaker. Basically, what have Rain said was like the same thought what I just I'm going to share for this evening. Because upon the start of this discussion, I was caught off guard when you say that these activities can make us a couch potato, which I think in this time of pandemic I was one, and also as a nursing student, I have agree with Rain that we are always discussing to our clients or to our patients that the importance of mobility. It may be through strenuous exercises, through active or passive range of motion exercises. But I think gaming is like a fun version of that, especially if we are going to handle pediatric clients or those who are um, under the age of 10 to 11 or such or lower. I think also that gaming could go a lot from here, and I think it will be helpful in our healthcare system. Um, I share the same sentiments with Rain. However, I just have a question po to our speaker. Because thinking back or as we have discussed this, upon your research and your projection, when will this extra gaming be available in our local hospitals or rehabilitation facilities? Kasi looking up to it po, it surely needs a lot of appropriation of funds and to procure this technology. And I'm happy po that you have shared earlier that it is already available in Rizal. Because as Rain have said, we only experience this through medical series or with the first world countries who uses this kind of technology. And yun po, I am looking forward that this would be localized, especially here in Naga City or at any part of the Philippines. So upon your projection po, sir, when will this become available po in our local hospitals or rehabilitation facilities?
All right. So thank you for that question. Very good question, actually, in the projection. I think the answer for that is if the other side of the fence is also open with this kind of technology. So to be honest, in Metro Manila, 2 to 3 hospitals already opened a specific room for ExerGaming. So they use Nintendo Wii Fit because it's very cheap, no? Kahit gamitin din yung old Nintendo Wii. So here in UST, those students who are doing the research, they call for, if you are not using Nintendo Wii Fit, can we borrow it so that we can do the experiment? We opened 3 already for the hospitals and 1 in the clinic. In Rizal, they're really open, no? So they have this maybe because I'm just lucky that they are constructing a rehabilitation in a building. They provided me a room for ExerGaming. So we supplied the program, they provided the facilities. So maybe in with right now with I don't know with what will happen with the government, but it depends on the our projection. But I think the answer is that how open those you know doctors or maybe administrators regarding this kind of technology. That will, I think that was the best answer right now. In Naga, actually, we have collaboration with community-based rehabilitation. So I'm trying to input ExerGaming as part of our program where Councilor Rentoy, I think Rentoy, I don't know. I think siya yung kasama namin lagi. We visited Naga in partnership with the local government units, no. So hopefully mapasok din namin in your place. Thank you, or region.
Right, thank you so much, Dr. Manlapaz, and of course to our reactors, Don and Rain. And I hope also that the ExerGaming tech, because tech is progressive, and of course our leaders would take into consideration the potential of ExerGaming. And because technology is akin to progression, so why not give it a okay? Now we are now open to your questions and comments to our speaker. Send them here or send them in the chat box. Okay, guys. Okay. Now I have some questions or comments from our participants that sent on the Google link. I would like to read. While I feel like he could have extended more into the Nintendo Switch era, I was thoroughly entertained with the overview of the potential of ExerGaming. I can see the potential in how modern technology can help us exercise by encouraging us more with entertainment. I guess this is towards yung mga effects ng ExerGaming like enjoyment, the sense of accomplishment, etc. How would you sir, react to that he wanted the way he reacted to that?
So the question is what are their insights? Is that the question? So I think to answer that, it depends on the behavior, no, of a specific individual, the motivation. If we go beyond the enjoyment, so should I say 70% is enjoyment, beyond that, or specific on that and subsection of that 70%, there's a lot of things. So maybe they're enjoyed, accomplished, with those reaction that they have. But what I like with the technology of ExerGaming, we don't remove the humans in the equation. So human is still part. So it's not just about technology. Because to be honest, I'm not really fan pa or parang absolutely 100% dun sa AI technology, no? Na robot na lang yung magpagtatakbo. Gagawin ba? Papalitan na ba natin yung mga nurses, yung mga teachers? Papalitan na ba natin sila? No. In ExerGaming, what I like with this one, it's an interaction between technology and people. So we don't remove humans into the equation, but we bring those people, individuals, into the benefits of exercises. So I think that's the answer for that.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Our next question or comment is that They said that one caveat that is commonly raised among the popular extra games platforms is accessibility. In other words, expensiveness. Are there any cheaper alternatives you know of that are not as popular as the Nintendo Wii, but provide just as much entertainment and health improvement? I
I
think we
think
tackled this, sir.
yeah, I think that's almost the low cost thing, no? But I think that's the cheapest one that I don't know, I can recommend. Or why not recycle or use? I think that's also a good strategy, no? Accessibility, yes, that's a problem, no? That's the reason why we're starting to enter into rural areas, no? So para magamit talaga siya. And at the same time, baka mayroon din mga natutulog ng mga, napagsawaan na, and then maybe we can use that. So that's another strategy compared to buying around 25,000, 50,000 na gadget. No? So hopefully, the challenge also is to create, baka dun sa mga, I don't know what field are you, maybe a create na low cost and viable and sustainable na equipment using ExerGaming. For as long as you match the definition, pasok siya, then why not? So I think that's always two coins, no? Two sides of the coin, no? So rather, so parang it's either maghanap ka ng paraan or you can invent things.
Right, thank you so much, sir. And I guess from Avery James de los Santos, this, I guess, in relation to what you have said, an alternative to getting Wii units would be the emulation with the low-cost machine. It's like yung what you have said, similar things. As long as pasok, this would be, of course, considered as a viable alternative. Ayan. And may mga question din po na similar with the thought. So I will say this the question. Hello, Dr. Donald. Can extra gaming be addictive or cause serious injury if used too much? And how can we possibly mitigate or keep it in check? I guess they are worried na baka yun nga may mga kasi pag gaming may mga tendency of
Yes, correct.
may
So
addiction
like
that.
So addiction, yeah, there might be addiction, particularly dun sa thumb, no? But sa extra gaming, I think, mas mataas yung limit niya, no? So, going back to the question, first of all, meron tinatawag na, di ba alam nyo, arthritis, yung IPIS sa dulo ng mga sakit. Arthritis, ano ba bang common? Tendinitis, itis. Ibig sabihin nun, may condition, no? May tinatawag na weetitis. So, parang they term as weetitis. It means that there's an inflammation of, for example, sa wrist, sa back, no? That's the reason why I mentioned about ergonomics. So that's the reason why before we deliver this one, before we give this type of extra gaming, we must check. Okay? Aside from pasok dun sa definition, I think the most important thing is the safety of our participants or the safety of the users, no? So baka yun, no? Addiction, not really, parang wala pang reported na addiction because the games are suited din na, di ba napansin nyo, one of the barriers is the repetition. So ikaw rin mismo stop ka because of the specific repetition problem of ExerGaming.
I guess, sir, mapapagod din naman talaga sila.
Yes.
And of course, nagsabi rin naman kayo na recommend nyo is about 20 to 30 minutes of play.
Yes. Yeah, there's a limit, no? So kaya we're looking for a specific dosage, no, which will have a benefit rather than counter benefit for the patient.
Yep. And ano, sir, I guess this is a personal question. I'll say this naman. Since the goal of ExerGaming is to have different games for strength, endurance, and maybe stamina. So, if possible, I guess there are many types of games that can be situational that can halimbawa, that can emulate those. May example ka ba, sir, na parang na game na nag-simulate ng mga ganon?
Yes.
Yes. We fit or
actually tailor fit that specific game to sa goal mo, no? Yung some of the extra gaming are a bit expensive when regards to that one, no? But if you're using the low cost one, the commercially available, you can choose a specific target, no? So when you talk about strength, ang always natatandaan nyo pag strength, sa mga nag-gym, no? So pag strength, mataas yung intensity. So ibig sabihin mabigat. pero konting repetition. If you train yourself with high intensity, low repetition, that's strengthening yon. But if you train yourself with low intensity, but longer duration or frequency, you are training endurance. So napansin niyo yung opposite niya, no? Mas mabigat, for example na lang, magda-dumbbell ka, mas mabigat siya, konting repetition, strengthening yon. Okay? Pero pag magaan, tapos parang aerobics, pero 30 minutes to 40 minutes, mas matagal yung duration, you are developing endurance. So if you think if that game matches with that parameter, then pwede mo siyang mapasok. Okay? Pwede mo siyang bigay sa kanila. Right?
Yes, thank you so much, sir, for your answer. Hoping ako, sir, feeling ko, sir, madami na yung equipment siguro na equipped to simulate. And,
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Sana baka may mga tournament na din nata, sir, ng gaming,
Sana.
ng ExerGaming.
Sana.
Maybe we'll see how popular can be ExerGaming.
And that's the creative minds of the students right now, no? So if ever nasa PE class ka, nakapag-isip sila just because of an activity, nakapag-create sila, and later on maging Olympics na, yung like ngayon yung mga e-games, di ba? Nasa Olympic na sila.
Yes, sir. May potential nga talaga, sir. So maybe yung ExerGaming nasa Olympics na din, sir. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Okay, follow-ups for any questions from our participants? Okay. Then I guess we can now accommodate our last question, given the time, of course. And of course, apologies as we need to close the open forum already. Rest assured, however, that we will relay some of your questions and insights to our resource speaker if you are going to use again the Google. And our last question is, how do you deal with patients? I guess last two, sir. Can you entertain last two? Okay. First question is, how do you deal with patients that aren't open with that kind of treatment, especially for old people that reject digital technologies? I guess you have already faced this.
Yes, no. So yeah, the medical, I think, need to go to medical background of that specific patient. No? So we don't give immediately. So we try to look, for example, baka merong hypertension yung pasyente, merong heart problem, baka those are the limitations. So if this one is recommended and there's a condition, seek medical consult first.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I guess mako-consider din naman natin ng mga ating mga professionals kasi they will handle said case. And our last question is, given the slow expansion of ExerGaming due to some socioeconomic factors, like not many people can afford such this, and of course governmental priorities, when and how would erudite pioneers cooperate with other sectors like, but not limited to, the economy and education? How would you like to address that? Na yun somehow na-affect talaga si ExerGaming because of the socioeconomic factor.
So I think what we can do is to right now, based on the question, maybe we can provide centers for ExerGaming so that it will be free. So that kasi pag meron naman nagbigay ng budget and they open and they share that to the public, then that will be a good I think intervention to address that, no, given the socioeconomic background that we have. And I think ExerGaming can be really an adjunct only. I still believe that the primary exercise or the real exercise, the reality that we have. But again, this is an adjunct to help. For example, I remember one psychologist told me, pampaalis umay. I don't know if you use the term umay ng mga athletes, no? Yung mga talagang elite athletes, pinagamit sila ng ExerGaming. Naalis yung umay, and then when return to the real and game, and training, mas masaya sila. Parang gano'n. So nakapag-exercise pa rin sila. So with that specific challenges na mention, I think most important na pwedeng gawin. We can tap the barangay, the LGUs, no, na may center para doon na lang those people who are interested, because yes, I admit that not everyone will be interested about it, right? So baka may center ka na, you have that equipment, and nafa-fund na siya, nagagamit siya ng marami.
Thank you so much, sir. I guess true nga po na na start small, and of course pag nakita na nila yung benefits nito, it will just grow on its own, and of course spread like wildfire. And just like what Sir Donald said, one step at a time. Yeah. And of course, and that ends our vote. Then
Thank you for all the questions and the reactions. Appreciated.
yes, thank you so much, sir. And of course, thank you din po sa inyo, sir, for answering those questions. And of course, once again, thank you to our participants for sending your questions. And of course, we have now come to the closing part. Of course, thank you to everyone who participated in the open forum. I would also like to extend my deepest gratitude to Dr. Donald G. Manlapaz for sharing with us your knowledge and time for this for ACP webinar. Everyone who is part of this event surely learned valuable information, and they can utilize it in the future, in which they gained experience and, of course, leveled up. To show our gratitude to our resource speaker for accepting our invitation, we would like to present this certificate of appreciation. Let me read the certification. The Office of Student Affairs at Ateneo de Nava University presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Donald G. Manlapaz in grateful recognition of his expertise and service as a resource speaker in the alternative class program, ExerGaming, From Gaming to Training, held on May 12, 2022. Given this 12th day of May 2022 at the Ateneo de Nava University, City of Naga, Philippines. Signed by Mr. Rodolfo S. Jr., Director of Student Affairs, Ms. Janet P. Badong Villa, Executive Director for Mission and Identity, Dr. Alfredo Pambay, Vice President for Higher Education, and Father Roberto Vera of the Society of University. Thank you so much again for being part of this event, which would not be possible without you. To our participants of this ECP webinar, please do not forget to fill out the evaluation form to receive your e-certificates. We'll be flashing the link here or in the chat box. Please make sure that you provide the correct information. No gaming username. Use your real name, as it is what will exactly reflect on you. We are grateful for your participation, and we hope to see you all in future ECP webinars or workshops. Once again, my name is Jekay Pandal, and I am honored to have been your host. This is not game over for us gamers. It's only a question of what game to play next. This ends the webinar, ExerGaming From Gaming to Training. Diyos Navalos at Ingat Pirmi sa Gabos. Good afternoon.